You're trying to find a Windows laptop that's going to be powerful, with a gorgeous screen, lightweight, and can get the job done? Let's take a look at the Asus 14X. Can we see it on the big camera? Ooh, down, up. Kind of like the way it just pops up there, ready for me to just grab a hold of it and lift it out easily. Instead of needing one of these little plastic flaps, it's going to just tear everything. So, let's have a look. In case you didn't know what you bought, amazing true to life colors, 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio, 100% DCI-P3. In other words, a screen that looks darn awesome. That's what they're telling you here with all of this stuff. So let me just translate for you into Mikey speak. Power brick is a 90-watt adapter. It's a nice little square. I mean, it kind of feels nice, looks okay. It's got the regular 3-prong cauliflower. No, clover. Clover, right? 3-leaf clover. That's what that is. The other end of the power for the brick. And it looks like we have got an adapter, USB-A to an Ethernet. All right, good old Ethernet. I still use Ethernet. You may too. It's handy to have, for sure. The standard plastic tear off is there. And I'm gonna open it for you guys. Could you put any more stickers on the computer? Like, it's just got that vibe to it. These kind of sharp, hard edges like a Lamborghini, you know, Countach of old. It's very angular, feels very solid in your hand. This is the first time we've reviewed an Asus on this channel, ever. So, let's see what we think. One thing that I've noticed here, even just getting it straight out of the box, you see how the body lifts there? So the design of the lid, it goes underneath and it lifts the back of the laptop up. So it gives you a little bit of rake on the keyboard, which is a nice thing. I think you'll probably find most keyboards are more comfortable when they lift a little one end and the other. Usually they've got a bit of an angle. Laptop keyboards obviously don't, but regular keyboards do. And also what this is doing is, it's creating a great place for the heat pipe at the back here to vent and vent into the screen and up rather than venting down onto your legs. I'll be curious to see if the heat does go down versus up, but that certainly looks like that's the idea here with the way they've designed it. In search of incredible. I hope you find it, Mr. Asus. I really do. Is this going to be an incredible laptop? Well, apparently we have a screen pad. And the screen pad is this weird and wonderful thing that Asus have designed. Look at those colors. By golly, this is an OLED screen in the truest sense of the word. This is a 1610 2.8K. So not quite 4K, but definitely pixel perfect and sharp enough for a 14-inch laptop. And I love 14-inch laptop screens. I think it's a great sweet spot for a portable device. But look at these colors. It looks incredible. This is one of the nicest laptop screens I have laid my eyes on. I had a Dell OLED in the studio recently with the XPS. I had a 13 and a 15. I wish I had them here that I could put them side by side for you, but I don't. If I did, I could be wrong, but I think the blacks on this are even better than the Dell OLED. Not quite as high res, 2.8K, but the colors really are something else. I'm hoping that we're capturing this and it's coming through well on whatever device or screen size you're looking at. Other things of note here with this Asus. So this is the i7, it's a 1260p, 12th generation. It's the P, which is the mid-range chip. So not the ultra mobile, but not the H, which is the highest wattage and highest heat output. This is the P range. I'm gonna throw some benchmarks up here for you so you can see them rather than just talking through them all. It's got a decent amount of horsepower, definitely on multi-core. It's looking strong against, you know, your MacBooks. It's looking strong against some of the other Intel devices out there. So if you're looking for a Windows laptop with performance at a reasonable price point, this was $13.99 on Amazon. So very, very reasonable price point. This is an incredibly capable machine. This one has 16 gig, and you can get these with an i9. They do this Space Edition, that's a kind of special edition, around about $2,000 with 32 gig and a terabyte of storage as well. But look, let me give you some perspective here. When you're talking about that mid-thousand-ish dollar range, $1,400, $1,500, inevitably you're gonna have to compare this to the new M2 MacBook Air. I've got mine coming in tomorrow. We're gonna have a review dropping shortly. That with the 512 gigabytes of storage is $1,499, which is really the base model that you want to go with, and we're going to tell you why in that video. This is $1,399, also with similar storage, but 16 gig, a 12th gen processor that on multi-core is more powerful, but yes, it will kick out a little bit more heat, but it's also Windows. A lot of us like Windows, and a lot of us need to use Windows and don't feel so comfortable in Mac OS. So it's interesting to see what your money buys for you. This thing has got all the ports you can dream of. It's got a headphone jack, it's got a USB-A, it's got 2 USB-Cs with Thunderbolt 4, and it's got an awful lot of vents down the sides of the device. Interestingly enough, they know that heat is going to be an issue. I suspect that's more for the i9, although this is an i7, so it's going to hustle as well. I did a little bit of a battery test on this. Did the loop video kind of, quick down and dirty to see what it was looking like. Kind of mid brightness level, and that's one of the things that I like about this. The screen is very usable even as you turn the brightness levels down. Let me show you. So this is currently full brightness that we're looking at here. This is 1 notch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, we're way past the halfway point. That's still a pretty usable picture, but can you see that now? Okay, you see the banding here going up and down. This is the pulse width modulation, or PWM, that a lot of people talk about. If you're susceptible to headaches, you've got sensitive eyes. A lot of OLEDs have this issue in the laptop world right now. As I turn the brightness back up, you see how that just disappears completely. But it is still there. Your brain is probably seeing it, and your eyes are probably seeing it, even though it's not processing it the same way. That said, this is a very usable screen without being on max brightness. You could work on this comfortably at half brightness and get the job done. When I did a video test, I left it playing, came back about an hour and 20, an hour and 30 minutes later, and running the math on that, it looks like on balanced mode, about a 4.5 hour battery life. Little bit on the light side for playing a YouTube video, if you ask me. Again, it's a 2.8K OLED screen. We know OLED are power hungry. We know the higher resolutions use a little bit more. So you could put it into battery efficient mode if that's what you want to do. And it's still plenty powerful enough to get the job done. I think you could probably eke out about 5.5, 6 hours or something like that. This is not a machine that's going to get you 8 or 9 hours of practical real world usage. You are going to be taking that power supply with you when you hit the road for a meaningful amount of time. Something else that I think is really cool, it just keeps going all the way down. Flat as a pancake, you might say. The big surprise here is this crazy screen pad. Asus have taken the trackpad and they've literally made it a second screen. What looks like a regular trackpad here, you'll notice a little X in the top right corner. And when I click it, lo and behold, I now have essentially what looks really to be like almost a mini mobile phone screen. I've got app icons here that I can swipe across. When I press it, the weather comes up on the actual screen. So it's really a shortcut to the weather app in this respect. And so although some of these are just launcher icons to get something on the screen, which isn't really overly helpful in my opinion, you might like it. It feels a little bit gimmicky. A lot of us have muscle memory and we're just used to launching apps the way we want to use them. It almost feels like the touch bar kind of idea, but moved into the trackpad. The one thing I really do like is the numeric keypad that appears in the trackpad. So now, if I'm doing some math, I can just go in and I can just hit this thing straight. It's a really clever way of getting that numerical keypad without having to shrink the keyboard and change the chassis kind of shape and dimensions and all that kind of fun stuff. That was pretty useful and I could see a lot of people liking it. Overall though, I didn't really get used to the screen pad in the time that I've played with the device. And maybe that's just me. and the way that I use the trackpad and click, but it's been a long time since I've had to look down and think about, am I clicking on the right or the left? Typically devices seem to get it right, and this didn't. That's my experience, your mileage might vary. It is what it is, but that's the big selling feature of uniqueness for this device, and I think it's a letdown. The rest of the device is hugely impressive, and the screen, did I mention how magnificent the OLED looks? Keyboard feels really nice. It's not as soft as a MacBook, for example, but in the Windows world, it's solid, it's firm, it's precise. And I think that really sums up this device. It's a precise machine. It feels like a Lamborghini. It feels like a high-performance ultra car. Those hard angled edges almost make it look like a gamer machine. And for that, I probably wouldn't use it as an everyday driver because I feel like it hasn't got that premium professional kind of polish that I'm looking for. But in fairness, this probably is geared more towards the gamers. You're talking about NVIDIA dedicated graphics. You're talking about a high-res, high-performing screen. This is not a device that was made for browsing the web and doing your emails. You can do that on it, just like you can take a Lamborghini and go to the shops in it, but it's not really what it was made to do. And I think that's the best way I can summarize this device. If you're looking for a fun laptop with an amazing screen, with a lot of power at a reasonable price point, and you don't mind the look of it, or you even like that aggressive kind of sharp angular edge, thing that's going on here, I think you can have a whole lot of fun with this, especially in the world of Windows. It's interesting to see what your money buys for you today in mid-2020. Hey, let me know if you got any questions. Watch these two videos over here and check out some other cool stuff we put up recently. Until next time, let's go out there and be amazing.